Welcome to Gary Keep It Simple. I've just seen yet another YouTube video about Amstrad Hi-Fi. And honestly, it drove me up the wall. The presenter was comparing 1980s Hi-Fi. This was the fantastic stuff in 1980s homes. Today, this is state of the art. At £529 though, not many young families are going to have it. It's a lot of money. Straight to today's tech, completely missing the point. That's like saying a wind-up gramophone is rubbish because it can't stream Spotify over Bluetooth, and it certainly won't sound as good. Both were the best in their time, but you can't judge yesterday's kit by today's standards. This will be easier to relate to. This is a 1983 Mini, and this is a 2025 Mini. They're the same, but they're not the same. Here's the thing. Those reviewers weren't even there, but I was. So I'm cutting through the nostalgia, the nonsense, by going back to the source. The Argos catalogue from the 1980s. We'll see exactly what Amstrad Hi-Fi was, how it was sold, and why it mattered to real people back then. If you're into vintage tech, hit that subscribe button now, because what I'm about to show you will blow your mind. In a moment you'll see this Hi-Fi as you've never expected, and I'll reveal what Argos said about it in their 1983 catalogue. Trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next.
Right, let's give Gary a like and subscribe. You know it makes sense.
In this first episode, we're diving headfirst into the Argos catalogue to see how Amstrad pitched their hi-fi systems. No modern bias, no unfair comparisons, just the facts, in black and white, as British families saw them in the early 80s. If you want to understand Amstrad Hi-Fi, you've got to see what people actually bought and why. I actually got married in 1980, so I was there. I was there. Okay, now, the other day, I was quite happily scrolling through my YouTube feed, and I saw a thing about Amstrads and the mugs Eiffel and all that, and I thought, well, I'll go and have a look at that, because I have an interest in Amstrad. Not a particularly big one, but I have an interest in Amstrad. My first ever amplifier I had when I was a kid, Amstrad IC2000, and one of my relatives, well, the first hi-fi they got was a Goodman speakers and an Amstrad 505, I think it was. I can't remember the exact model number, but it's basically a radio tuner. They bought it wasn't a music centre as such. It had some punch because we managed to blow up the speakers, and they were proper nice speakers. It didn't come with speakers. Some of the people who were putting comments on were being rather dismissive, not in any way that was sort of like technical, because the thing is, they were all kids and they didn't know what they were talking about in terms of the view from the adults. You have to remember, when you are the person who's paying the bills, you have things to worry about, like, have you got enough food on the table? Can you actually afford that? And is there enough petrol in the car? This is the sort of thing that kids didn't have to worry about. They just had the thing. And they didn't necessarily, because they were only kids, know what a thing was. And mind you, in those days, an awful lot of adults didn't. So anyway, this is Argos 1983 catalogue. And I'm using this one for a reason, and you'll find out why. But anyway, let's have a quick look through. What we'll do is go on to, we don't want to see rings, do we? And then you can see, what, for my American viewers, it was a shop. It used to be part of the green stamp thing over here. And when they stopped doing green shield stamps, the company that was running them decided to open up the shopping catalogue, where you just went, you looked through the catalogue, and then they pulled it out from the back and gave you what you wanted. So this was the catalogue you ordered it from. You went into a nice foyer, I suppose you'd call it, front lobby type thing, and you'd thumb through the catalogues, tell them which one you wanted, and then they'd go and get it for you, and you could either look at it and say, no, I don't want that, or you could say, yeah, that's fine, that's what I wanted. So these are all the products that were available. There's history for you. I've seen a few of these on a couple of YouTube channels, this sort of thing. That's called a film projector, and that's called a cine camera. At least in the UK, it's called a cine camera. There we go. I actually had one of these. Hanamex slide projector. They weren't cheap. Now, this is the thing that we originally started wondering about. This is the hi-fis. Now, it happens here that Amstrad are quite big in it at this point, so we're going to look and see if we can find the one that was being talked about in video. So this is a TSM. Let's have a quick look. So you've got big speakers, standing quite tall. That's a 12-inch record rack. So You're looking at 15 inches tall or something on that speaker box, and it's got twin cassettes, and it's got a turntable, and it looks okay, and it's about the sort of money you'd pay for a Crosley today. And then we've got this other one here, similar. We'll have a look in a minute, a proper thing. Got another one here, similar, and another one here, similar. So the speakers are all fairly quite large. And let's have a quick look at the specs. So we're going on the TS35 Mark IV. This was £169, and it's got twin cassettes because it says so. But let's have a look at the spec. Amstrad TS35 Mark IV rack system comprises one-piece audio unit in teak effect cabinet with smoked glass and a pair of matching dual unit speakers with bass reflex ports. So it's got two speakers and a hull. I'm not sure which is, well, looks like a tweeter, and that looks like a woofer, so that must be the hull. But you've got what look like three things, so it's looking flashier than it really is, but it's got dual unit speaker with bass reflex ports. Cassettes, twin cassette decks for tape recording, normal, chrome and metal tape capability, noise reduction switching and LED record level display, tuner, long, medium, BSR deck, 2-speed amplifier, LED output, 20 watts total peak music power with £69. Okay, let's have a very quick look here. Anything interesting to see on here? Yes. Is the turntable any good? Well, it looks to have a metal platter. Well, it's a BSR, so it's not going to be bad. As far as that's concerned, it's all sort of, it's all in one. And it's got casters. Hooray! Number 2. Let's have a look at number 2. Number 2 looks much the same in terms of the actual units. Again, twin cassettes. Turntable looks a bit different. I don't know if it looks better or worse. Speakers look different. It's a little bit more expensive. This is a remote control Amstrad TS80 Mark II. So that was Amstrad TS80 Mark II remote control rack system, comprises one-piece audio unit in teak, and it says full-length smoked glass door. That's quite expensive. And lid and a pair of matching dual unit speakers with bass reflex ports. Again, similar then. Handheld remote control unit alters bass, treble, balance, volume, and turns sound on and off. So it doesn't alter the tuning. Tuner, long, medium, and stereo VHF reception, which is of course rare in those days, with LED, stereo beacon, record deck, BSR driven 2-speed, queuing device, cassette deck, metal tape facility, noise reduction switch and LED VU indicators, amplifier, graphic equalizer, LED VU, blah 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 blah. Output 32 watts total peak music power. Now you see different specification on there, 175, but it's a bigger number, so presumably that's going to be something better, but we'll have a look at that. So this is a TS88 because we're going up in quality, I presume. Now this one has Amstrad TS88 Mark II. The remote control rack system comprises one-piece audio unit in teak effect cabinet with full-length glass door and lid and a pair of matching dual unit speakers with bass reflex ports. So it's dual unit again. Handheld remote control unit alters bass, treble, balance, volume and turns the sound on and off. Tuner, long wave, medium wave, VHF stereo with LED stereo beacon. Record deck BSL 2 speed, so that's going to be it's going to be okay. Twin cassette decks for tape recording, metal tape facility, so it's got metal recording. It's got noise reduction switch and LED VU indicators, amplifier, graphic equalizer, LED power indicators, rumble and scratch filters. Output 32 watts total peak music power, so it's a different set of words again. And it says that they're £199. There was a different speaking, wasn't it? No, total peak music. Yes, that's it. But is that the same as that one? Just having a quick look here. And that just says total peak music. Yeah, so they're all saying total peak music power. Let's have a look at this one. This one's expensive. This is the linear tracking turntable one. Oh yes, I've had a look at one of these. Amstrad's TS90 full remote control rack system. Remote control unit operates up to 32 functions, including linear tracking, belt drive turntable. It's got amplifier, tuner, and 8 preset stations, record, play, rewind, etc. Cassette deck, soft touch controls, LED VU indicators, noise reduction switching, and metal tape facility. Still not Dolby. Tuner, long, medium, and stereo VHF reception with LED indicators for signal strength. Preset channel selection and stereo VHF reproduction. Output 32 watts total peak music power, so it's the same as the other ones. Supplied with triple unit speakers with bass reflex ports. Size unit is 34 by 16 by 14.5. Speakers 20.5 by 10.25 by 8.25. So that's quite a reasonable size. And it's got three-way speakers, whereas this one did not specify. Oh yes, it did. The speakers here were 19 by 10 by 5, and on this one, did they specify the speakers? Speakers 19 by 10 by 5. I missed that the first time round. And the speakers were 19 by 10 by 5. So those are 19 by 10 by 5, but this one is 19 by 10 by 8. So it's got a bit more depth to it. So it should sound better. And it's got 3 units in it. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Because I don't know why they had that page of their own. I guess they must have paid for it. But it means it's the first one you stumbled across. Then we got onto these things here. Now these are obviously ghetto blasters, boom boxes, whatever you want to call them. And you can see here, they're £99, £54, £89, £139, £59, £54, £39, £99, £169. Now, see, this is what you get for £169 from Sharp. Stereo component system, long, medium, short, stereo, VHF waveband coverage with VHF stereo mono, low selectivity, detachable speakers, 5-band graphic equalizer, microprocessor controlled audio, APSS. It's actually got Dolby noise reduction, metal tape facility, soft eject cassette, 2 times 7.5 watts RMS, operates from 240 volts AC mains or 10 batteries, and it's the size is 26 by 8 by 4. So those speakers are not as thick, and it doesn't say whether they're 1 or 2 units, does it? It just says speakers attached. Ross. Those speakers sounded like tin cans with string on them. I know that because I heard some. Go. Right, now we're getting on to what you might call mini systems. So it's got its own page. And oh dear, look at this. This is the one that was featured in that video that I was watching the other day. So we'll have a look at that last. Let's have a look and see what the competition have got. So this is the Philips, and the Philips one is the F1131 Music Center. It's a music center, mini music center. You can tell that, I guess. Tuner, long, medium, and stereo VHF waveband coverage. Record player, 2-speed single play. It's a BSR. Probably. Cassette, automatic record level. See, automatic record level. Normal CRO tape capability. No metal. Auto stop at tape end. LED indicators for tuning and stereo VHF output. 2 times 10 watts. Music power. Size 22 by 4.5 by 14. So they're 4.5 inch speakers. Again, probably can't really tell from it. It doesn't actually show you the speakers on this one, as in how big it is. But looking at that, it's about a cassette and a bit, so not very deep. Right, let's have a look at this other one. This one is a Ferguson. Now, Ferguson is from Thorn, and it's a good brand, except that they cover the market. Let's have a look at this one. So this one is £59 for the. Oh no, we've got Sharp here. Sharp's this one up here. Right, I've seen one of those. Sharp, front loading, stereo cassette deck. It's just a deck. All right. Dolby B noise reduction system. Let's zoom in. Noise reduction system, CRO2, and metal capability. So that's good. Twin LED displays, soft cassette eject mechanism. So this is just a cassette deck, £59.99 or 60 quid. Then we look at the Ferguson. Ferguson Studio 2000. That sounds good, doesn't it? It's got a studio in the name. Music Center, tuner, long, medium, and stereo VHF waveband coverage, automatic frequency control, record player, 2-speed single play with auto return and straight tone arm. Cassette auto stop at tape end and dabbed cassette eject. LED indicators for record, VHS, stereo, and output level. Output 2 times 5 watts RMS. Now that's RMS. So is that good or bad? Because it's not what the other people are saying. I'll tell you when we get to the end. Our price is £99.99. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. I have seen those. They are very flimsy. But it does have Dolby, does it? Hang on. Record 2. No, it doesn't have Dolby. It doesn't have any noise reduction according to that. This is you know what they did there? This is marketing. By putting the sharp there, it means they could put the Dolby thing there, which means that when you're looking at the Ferguson, which doesn't actually have noise reduction, they haven't got Dolby. But this is marketing for you. They've put the Dolby warning on there because they've got the cassette deck, which has got it. Crafty. Right, network. Now this is one of those makes. It's probably owned by Argos. If you're American, you probably think of Sound Design or something similar to that. It's not good. Right, so up the top here we've got number 5. It says Ferguson Studio 100. Music Centre with built-in speakers. Let's zoom in. So we zoom in on there. It's really looks a bit like a boombox, but it's sat on the table. So let's have a look, and it says Studio 100 Music Centre with built-in speakers. Tuner, long, medium, and stereo VHF reception. Record player, 2-speed, semi-automatic cassette. Semi-automatic cassette. Auto stop that tape end and damp cassette eject. Tape counter. Stereo wide switch for more lifelike stereo sound. Sockets for headphone and microphones not supplied. Output 2 times 1.5 watts. Music power this time. And size, and this is £105. So what are you getting for your £105? Nothing that sounds very good from what I can see. Basically it's a boombox with a record player in it and no carry handle. So then we look at the network one. It's got a turntable, you can tell that because it's got for anything, and it's got modern-ish looking speakers. Let's see what it's got to say about these. Network. NW2200 Music Center tuner, long, medium and stereo VHF wave band coverage, LED tuning display, record player, 2-speed, semi-automatic belt-driven turntable, cassette Dolby noise reduction system, that's good, normal CRO and metal tape capabilities, which is also good, soft touch cassette controls and oil damped cassette eject, which means they've got two bits of, normally there's 2 bits of plastic and they put a bit of grease between them and it slides, but possibly on that I have seen somewhere it's like the things you have on the back of the car when you open the hatchback of the car and go. Sometimes they have those, but I wouldn't have thought this one would. But nevertheless, it's it's smartish looking. Soft touch cassette controls and oil damp cassette. Yeah. Output 2 times 15 watts. Music power. Size of the unit is 15 by 10 by 15 and a quarter. So they haven't specified how many drivers there are. Well, because that's going to be a base. That's going to be mono. If there was 2, they'd tell you. Doesn't even mention the speakers. Maybe you don't get them. Maybe they're an optional extra. But it does say, it might have a tweeter, but I wouldn't guarantee that it's not a dummy. Anyway, let's have a look at the Amstrad. This is the one that was featured on the video. And we know about this one. What do we know about this one? Right, it says it's got a sliding in and out turntable, and it's plastic platter, we know that. So that's where the turntable sits, under there. And then we got the controls here, and it's a single unit, we know that, because that's what it looks like. And it says Amstrad SM101 stereo audio system. 2-speed belt-driven turntable glides in and out electronically at the touch of a button, if the belt's okay. Tuner, long, medium and stereo VHF, wideband coverage with LED stereo beacon, cassette deck, metal tape facility. See, metal tape, that's good. Noise reduction of some kind is always good. And LED VU. Now I don't know whether it's got real noise reduction or whether it's just got a hiss remover like a high pass filter. But as it's got rumble and a scratch filter, I'm guessing that maybe, just maybe, it might actually have what's called a DNS, a dynamic noise suppressor, or DNL, dynamic noise limiter chip. It may do. On the video that I saw, he didn't actually look at that. And it says drive unit and LED indicators. Now, they sniggered in the video about the fact that it had a very low output on the chips, and that it wasn't really, there was no way of telling that. Well, if you actually look at here, it says output 2 times 2.5 watts RMS. Now this one's RMS again, so we're going to have to convert all these so that we can make some sort of sense out of them. But 2.5 watts RMS is possibly not as bad as people have been suggesting. So what I'm going to say, it did have scratch and rumble filters. That was considered a high-end feature, because rumble is to do with the record, and it's all to do with the record actually having, when it's worn, if it's not particularly good, sometimes you get a bit of a rumble, so you switch it. And scratch is obviously, if you've got dust, you can just knock some of the high frequencies off again. It was considered a high-end feature, and obviously Amstrad put it on there for a reason, and the reason being, let the reason be love. No, it wasn't that. It was merely the fact that it looked good, but it did actually, according to the video, it did actually function. Record players. Now this is something that I think is relevant, because we've got here Fidelity record player, what's it? Let's have a look. Number 6. Let's have a look at number 6. Number 6 says Fidelity HF42 mini record player, rotary controls for volume and tone, 3-speed record deck, takes full-size LP, output 1.5 watts music. Again, we're going to have to convert that, aren't we? Because that means nothing unless you know what they mean. $21.99. Now we're looking at another one, number 7, and it says Fidelity UA10S stereo record player, rotary controls for volume, tone and balance, 2-speed BSR auto change deck with 6 record capability. So it's got the dunk, drop it type thing, standard BSR. Sockets for aux, tapes and headphones not supplied. Output 2 times 2 watts RMS. Now that's better, you see, because that says RMS. But that number, 2 watts, is bigger than 1.5 watts. So where does the money go? Well, that's £49, and the other one was £21. Does it do the same thing? Effectively, yes. So why? But it is stereo. They both come with speakers. Doesn't say, does it? The speaker must be built in. Right, okay, so then we look at the Ferguson. See how confusing it was trying to buy something. If your parents, when they were looking for this stuff, only had the information that you're looking at here to go by. Pictures of tapes, computer-compatible cassette recorders. Why would you want one of them? Because you do. And number 18, let's have a look at number 18. 18 is Ferguson 3057 stereo record player, controls for volume, tone and balance, 2-speed belt-driven record deck, straight tone arm with queuing device, sockets for headphones, radio input, tape. You notice none of these things have graphic equalizers or anything similar. Total output 3 watts, total music power. Again, what does that mean? It means a staggering 2.2 watts per channel, which is basically what you get out of a radio nowadays. And look how much it cost. I've knocked up a quick chart here which shows the way it's being done in relative value, and quite simply it's the Sharp Ghetto Blaster comes first, and second is the network as being value for money because of the features and the power, but then the Amstrad, and then mostly it's Amstrad. And the thing is, if you've seen this stuff, which you have done, you can see it wasn't that good. What it was up against wasn't that good. And finally, a lot of the people said, why didn't you just pay a little bit extra and get the better stuff which was available? Well, look at the difference in prices there. You can see the scale. It's a big difference, much more than you think when you just look at the numbers. If you've got any experience with this, maybe you'd like to put some comments down in the comment section, and like, subscribe, and I'll catch you another time. Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed that. This one is good too.